Let me start. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining the Atman Show. And I have a special guest. He's Ashish Dalela, and we've already done 3 shows with him. So today, again, we are going to continue on this book, like Mystic Universe, and we are going to talk about chapter 3 and chapter 4. So, sir, please again go give a brief introduction before we begin our question answer session.
Yeah, I have been writing about Vedic philosophy and its relation to science for many years. Please head over to shabda.co, which is my website, shabda.co, and you'll find a lot of material. It's hard to summarize everything I do, but you can take a look at that website and you will find a lot of things.
Okay. So let's begin with the first question. What is prana, samana, vyapna, alana, and udana? Like, what are those and how it is related?
Yeah, so the basic model for reality in all of Vedic philosophy is a person, and you can say an organism. Okay. So unlike Abrahamic religions where nature has no life, in all of Vedic texts, rivers, mountains, they are life. Land is also life. Earth is a mother. And similarly, there are many planets and plants, animals, trees, even societies are living things. So the basic model for everything is an organism or a person. Okay, whereas in Western science, the basic model of everything is an object. So an object interacts with other objects through forces, but an organism interacts or a person interacts with other persons through 5 kinds of, you can say, force, but that's what we call prana. So prana is the summary, and there are 10 kinds of prana. They are sometimes described only as 5, sometimes as 10. So I'll try to give a brief idea about what those things are. So the first 5 kind of prana is about the body, mind, and so on. Okay, so when I say body, we include mind is also a type of a body. Similarly, intellect is a body, and so on. There are many bodies. In Sankhya Sutra, there are 3 kinds of bodies described. There is Sthula Sharira, Linga Sharira, and Sukshma Sharira. So gross body, gendered body, and subtle body. So there are many bodies. And these bodies are within each other and outside each other also. But that's a separate thing. We'll probably not go into that. So in each body, there are 5 kind of interactions with other bodies. So for example, you can take simple interaction of this gross body. You can take the example of food. So ingesting the food is prana. Okay, then digesting the food is samana. Circulating the food or nutrients is vayana. Excreting is apana. And expressing after assimilation is udana. So prana, apan, vayan, udan, and saman. Or prana, saman, apan, vayan, and udan. So these are the 5 interactions between the bodies. Right, so another body can become my food. It can become, so when the food is ingested, that is prana, and the food is digested. So similarly, you can also think of this 5-fold process in terms of the mind. So let's say I'm giving you some ideas and you are listening. Your hearing process is prana, but once you hear, you will break down everything that I'm saying into smaller ideas. That is samana. And then you will integrate the ideas that I've said, that you have assimilated, that you have broken down into your existing idea world. Okay, so there is a world in you which is comprising of ideas, and you will assimilate that idea that you have broken down after ingestion, and that is vayana. Now, as a result of that assimilation, you might throw away some old ideas. You might change old ideas, or you might even reject everything that I've said and say, oh, this is all garbage. So that is apana. And then once you have, ingested, digested, assimilated, and excreted, then you will say something to your friends or to your family or to someone about these things, which is udana. So prana, pan, vayan, udan, saman. So this is one way. So it applies at the gross body, it applies at the gender body. Similarly, it applies at the level of at several levels. Okay. And so this is one type of prana description. The other type of prana description is not related to the body, but related to the consciousness.
Mhm.
And so the consciousness can move up, it can move down. Consciousness can move outward and inward, and consciousness can go round and round. So round and round can be clockwise and anti-clockwise. So each of these is a very big subject. If I just talk about all the ways it can move up, it's a very long process. All the ways it can go down. So cosmology also has this process of going up and going down, right? So there are 7 levels up and 7 levels down. Similarly, at each level, there are 14 levels, right? So you can progressively go outward and you can progressively go inward. Similarly, you can, once you have gone outward, you can also go round and round. The planets are going round and round, both clockwise and anti-clockwise. So there is a clockwise motion, there is an anti-clockwise motion, and there is a combined motion, which is the effect of the clockwise and anti-clockwise. So this is up, down, outward, inward, and around. These are the 5 kinds of movements of consciousness. So prana is a very, very, very complicated subject. Because there are 10 kinds of prana, 5 pertain to the body, 5 pertain to the consciousness. And so within this body also, for example, I can close my eyes and withdraw my consciousness inward. Okay. So the body is not eating, it's not digesting, it's not doing, or whatever it is doing, but the consciousness can move independently of the bodily state, right? So the prana of the consciousness is different, the prana of the body is different. But ultimately, all this prana is controlled. The prana of the body is controlled by material nature. The prana of the consciousness is not, the atma can gain control over this prana of the consciousness. So when we do yoga, we try to control what you call the prana of the consciousness, and by that it's elevation and so on. So it's a very big topic. Um, Many books can be written about just this one subject, but this is the gist of.
So I have a question, like consciousness, you're talking about the soul, like the soul, levels are independent of the body. That's what you're saying? That what it means?
Soul doesn't have a level. Soul
Okay.
has an experience.
Okay.
Okay, so the type of experience determines the quality. Okay,
Okay.
so we describe everything in terms of qualities, right? So the quality of happiness, for example, is one type of quality. Happiness is not a one thing. There
Mm-hmm.
are infinite types of happiness. Okay, there are many levels of material happiness and many levels of transcendental happiness. Many levels. And each type of happiness is unique and there's a quality associated with that happiness. And as one rises in the quality of happiness,
Oh.
that is a level of
Oh.
happiness. Similarly, there is levels of knowledge. You can have knowledge about one small thing. Let's say I know something about programming using a computer language. That is one level of knowledge, but I may not know. So that's a very low level knowledge. But if I know something about, how the world works and things like that, that's another level of knowledge. How the whole universe works, that's another level of knowledge. What is matter itself is another level of knowledge. Then what is spirit beyond matter is another level of knowledge. And what are higher kinds of spiritual advancement? That's even higher level of knowledge. And ultimately, what is God? That's a supreme level of knowledge. So the knowledge also has many levels.
Yeah.
Similarly, work, I can do something small and it's a low level work. And I can progressively do higher and higher levels of work. Similarly, what I am seeing, if I'm seeing an atom, that's one level of or I am able to control an atom, that's one level of control. If I am able to control my body, that's another level of control. If I am able to control society, that's another level of control. If I am able to control, let's say, a planet, that's another level of control. There are living entities who are controlling all the, let's say, digestion in all the bodies. That's a very high level of control. So there are many levels of controls. So when you say level, it is about gaining greater and greater control or greater and greater knowledge, higher and higher levels of happiness. So this is what we mean by level. It doesn't mean height in the, physical sense. Sometimes people say, oh, if it is going to higher, then what is the height? Can I measure in meter? It is not measurable in this space. Because it is layered and layered spaces. So if you can transcend to the next level of space, then that is going higher, not in this space.
Okay. Moving on to our next question. What is chitta, guna, karma, and time? How is it related to prana?
Chitta guna karma is the sukshma sharira, the subtle body. So there are three things. Chitta is all the abilities you have. Okay. Guna is all the proclivities you have. And karma is all the opportunities you have. So remember three words: ability, proclivity, opportunity. Okay, so let's say a simple example. I have the ability to eat food, but I may not have the proclivity to eat food, right? So I will eat less. Similarly, somebody may have the ability and proclivity, but they may have no opportunity. They may not get food. They want to eat food, they can digest the food, but similarly, sometimes we may have the desire to eat food, but the moment we eat, we get indigestion. So ability is not there. So chitta is all the ability, guna is all the proclivity, karma is all the opportunity. And an experience is created by the combination of these three things. Okay. Of these three things, chitta is considered more fundamental, and guna is less fundamental, and karma is the least fundamental. So chitta, that is why it is said yoga, chitta vritti nirodha. So from the chitta, the guna is manifest. From the guna, the karma is manifest, and so on and so forth. Right? So there is, if you study Sankhya Sutra, I have a commentary on that. If you like, you can read that. There is an extensive discussion about what is chitta, guna, and karma. I have discussed it extensively. So it's a huge topic. I mean, everything of this is a huge topic.
Yeah.
So chitta itself is a huge topic. So chitta is basically like, the example is sometimes given like an ocean, okay, and the thoughts are like the waves in the ocean. But it is not a good analogy, because the waves in the ocean are created not by the ocean itself, but by some wind blowing and external, actions and so on. But thoughts in the chitta is capable of producing thoughts. Okay. So this is automatically thoughts are arising. Even if you don't want to think, sometimes putting the chitta to rest is itself a big problem, right? How to stop the mind from, producing thoughts.
I think one
So
minute, I just want to stop you. Producing the thought, we can be done by meditation and yoga, right? But stopping
no,
the thought, sorry.
the first proposition of yoga is to put an end to thoughts.
Okay. Mhm.
That is the first initial proposition. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. So how to put an end to thoughts? By these thoughts means referential thoughts. I'm thinking about the world and thinking about my job, my family, about the environment around me, my survival, money, so on and so forth, right? So how to put an end to those thoughts? Once you can put an end to those thoughts, then you can realize that even in the thoughtless state, I have awareness. Okay. And then starts the question of who am I? Because now I have separated myself from the world. Now the question arises, who am I? Because unless and until I put an end to the thoughts in the world, what will I say? Oh, I am a man. I'm an Indian. I am so and so years old, and my name is so and so, I'm employed in so and so, I'm so and so's father, so and so's husband, so and so's brother. So we have hundreds and hundreds of identities.
Mm.
Okay, so unless and until we put this end to this identity business, which is materially created, unless and until I put an end to it, there's no question of who am I, really, in the sense of not being defined in terms of these other temporary entities. So the question comes, who am I? And that is the question of beginning, who am I really in the eternal sense?
Mm.
Okay, so that there is a temporary identity and a permanent identity. So when we talk about the temporary identity, that putting an end to that temporary identity is the beginning. Then comes who am I, then the search of eternal identity and so on. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, and also, like, I want to go back to the first question.
Yeah.
This little, like, the consciousness and the soul, are they related? What is consciousness basically? Is it soul and consciousness are together?
Yeah. So see, soul is basically a Western word.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Ideally, we should not use that word, but because people understand this, there are two words that we use. One is called jiva, the other is called atma,
Mm-hmm.
and then we combine and say jiva atma, jivatma.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the atma is the self, but the self, if you try to understand what is self-awareness, you can break it down into three components. There is a knower, there is a known, and there is a knowing. Knower, known, and knowing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just like if you are thinking something, you can say thinker, thinking, thought. Okay, so there is a thinker who is thinking in the act of thinking, and what he's thinking is the thought. So the thinker, thinking, thought are one, and yet they are not one. So this is again will take us into deep into what is bheda bhed. So there are one and not one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is the aspect theory of the Atma. So what happens in the soul? Soul is just one thing. There is no aspect. So if you say soul has self-awareness, Buddhists have raised this problem, which Abrahamic faiths or people who talk about soul, they cannot answer, because what essentially Buddhism said that, hey, this self-consciousness is a very contradictory proposition, because there are three things which is one thing. There is a thinker, there is a thinking, there is a thought. The
Mm-hmm.
thought can disappear, the thinking can disappear, and the thinker can remain.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time when you are thinking, okay, there is a dichotomy between, let's say I am aware of myself. There is a knower, there is a known, and there is a knowing.
Mm-hmm.
And how can one thing be three things at once?
Yeah.
Okay. So Buddhists have raised this proposition, and they said, therefore, thinker, thinking, thought is a bad proposition. This whole idea about somebody's thinking about himself or being self-aware itself involves breaking the self into two opposites, knower and known,
Mm-hmm.
at least two. We say three, but they'll say at least two.
Yeah.
Therefore, they'll say this thinker and thought, the thinker thinking, the thought or thinker thinking, or the knower and the known, they are two opposite things. And therefore, they have this whole philosophy of pratiti samutpad. Okay, two opposites are created as a dichotomy. So they will say this is also duality, or this is also what do you call two opposites that coexist in relationship to each other. But if it was just one, it will be nothing, because both knower and known will disappear. Okay, so try to imagine a situation where you are there but you have no thought,
Mm-hmm.
not even the thought of the self. So you can't say I know myself. The word I itself is the combination of the knower I, the known I, and the knowing I. Three eyes are involved, but at least in Buddhism they will say two eyes, knower and known. If you try to have this, so they will say this is itself a dichotomy, and therefore it is material. Okay, but so it requires a different kind of logic. So Buddhists developed this argument about the I itself is a problem. Okay, And now going back to your question of what is soul, what is consciousness. So Atma, and Atma is the self. Self is I is three things.
Yeah.
That three things is Sat, Chit, and Anand. Okay.
Yeah.
So the Chit is the knower.
Mhm.
Sorry, the Chit is the known, the Anand is the knower, and Sat is the knowing. Okay. It doesn't matter. Some people will say, oh, let's put it like this and like that. But basically, there are three things:
Yeah.
knower, known, and knowing.
Okay.
Okay. So when we say consciousness is the act of knowing.
Okay.
Okay. And in that act of knowing, the moment the act of knowing comes, the knower is separated from the known.
Mm.
But that knower was originally the same known. It is something like this. This is why it is often said the chitta is like a mirror. So cheto darpana marjanam, cleaning the mirror of the mind. The mirror is being reflected in itself.
Mm.
Okay. So but what is consciousness? It's the act of reflection. And what is reflected is the mirror. Where is it reflected? In the mirror. So this fundamental proposition about what is consciousness is beyond binary logic,
Mm.
right? So an alternative logic has to be developed to deal with this simple thing. Is the one thing is three things. One thing that is three things. These three things are the three faces of the thing. They are, as faces, they are three things, but as a combination of faces, they are one thing. So the self is one, but it has three faces when it knows itself. But when you go into deep sleep, then the knower, known, and knowing all merge together, and then there is no experience. Okay. So when I said you have ability, proclivity, and opportunity, it is the combination of these three things that produces. I'm sorry, when you go to deep sleep, then these three aspects separate, not combined. When you have self-awareness, then these three aspects merge into one another. But if they separate, then you go to deep sleep. When they merge, you have self-awareness. But when you merge these three things with something else, which is the chitta in this case, then you have world experience. So there is lack of experience, which is sleep, deep sleep, self-experience, which is first level of transcendent consciousness, and then there is a combination with chitta, which is the first level of world experience. So I correct it's not the combination, it's the separation. So when the three things separate, so this is what, so Buddhism is, when you say that there is no self, it is the state in which the three things have separated. And then there is a self awareness state, which is sometimes called Brahman. And in that state, there is the three things have merged. Okay. And then there are more and more combinations of these things, which will take a lot of time. But what is soul? Soul is three things that is one thing. What is consciousness? It is one of those three
One of
things.
those three things. Okay.
Yes.
This is really important. Like we are so confused. It's a good
It
attempt.
is a very difficult subject because if you don't know history, right? So if generally people are coming to talk about consciousness as if it's a new subject.
Yeah.
Okay. It's because in the West, consciousness has never been studied. So they think it's a new subject. But for at least thousands and thousands of years, we've been discussing Buddhism and Vedic system. I've been having this debate about what is self and what is self-awareness. And there are these established paradigms and of, knower and versus known versus knowing, and or knower versus known. And then there is this thing about dichotomy. And the moment you have dichotomy, you cannot have a reality or eternal reality, because it's temporarily dichotomous. And so all these things are, so it's a very long and very complicated subject. It's been very simplified in Abrahamic faiths as called soul. We say Atma, we say Jiva.
Okay. Thank you. Moving on to a third question. According to Sankhya, what is 9 tiers of material hierarchy?
9 or 24, or don't go by the numbers.
Okay.
Okay, because the same thing can be subdivided and same thing can be merged. Okay. So what is 9? Sometimes you can say the 5 sense perceptions. These are the 5 levels, and first 5 levels, and then mana, buddhi, ahankar, and chitta. These are, or mana, buddhi, ahankar, and mahat. These are the 4 deeper levels. Okay, so then that makes it 9. But the same thing is described that 5 things are divided into 4 parts. And that becomes 5 senses of knowledge, 5 senses of action, 5 tanamatras, and 5 bhutas. So that becomes 20. And then 20 plus 4 becomes 24. Now, if you study Tantra, it will become 24 is just the lower level. There are 12 more levels, which is called deeper. So that becomes 36. So the number is not important. Okay. It can be more. If you go into detail, there are more and more levels. If you want to summarize it, it is 1 level. Krishna says, Indriya, in Bhagavad Gita, he says, Indriyani parani ahur indriyebhya param manaha. So ahur is the objects, senses, manaha, buddhi, and the atma. So 5. Indriyani parani ahur indriyebhya param manaha manasast para buddhi buddhe parasast saha. So only 5 levels. Okay, then then this ahur itself is divided into bhumi, apo, anala, vayu, kham. Okay, so the ahur becomes 5, and then so this becomes 8, right? Bhumi, apo, anala, vayu, kham, mana, buddhi, revacha, ahankar ityame bunna pakati ashtadha. So it becomes 8. Okay, depending on how it is divided and summed up, the number is being talked about in a different way. So the number is, it's tied to the context of how deep and how summarize, or how detailed or how summarized the description is. The basic point is there are many levels.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there are many levels of reality, and the prior level is the mother of the lower level, or the father or the parent of the lower level. Okay, so the lower level reality comes from the higher level reality. Okay, it's the inversion of the reductionist method. In the Western reductionist method, you assume that the lowest level reality is the only primary level reality, and then you have epiphenomena layer 1, epiphenomena layer 2, epiphenomena layer 3, and so on. So they'll go on constructing epiphenomena. But we have the inversion of that, where the deeper level reality is the fundamental reality. And this world, for example, I'm sitting on a table. This table is the hard wood and all these things. This is superficial reality for me. Okay, there are many deeper levels of reality. So Sankhya is the study of how the deep level reality produces the superficial level reality. Whereas modern science will only study the superficial and say there is no deep.
Okay, I'll ask you one simple question. Like, we
Yeah.
are human being, right? We are in the material world. We are like just a superficial reality. What is our deeper level reality of a human being?
Deeper level reality are same thing. Even this, when you say superficial, I describe there are 3 levels of bodies.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is gross body, which you and I can see, but beyond that is a gender body.
Okay.
Okay, so for example, there is all these gender debates these days. The body is male, but the mind is female. Let us put it very simple.
Exactly. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? Body is male, but the mind is female, or the body is female, but the mind is male. So the attraction of a body which is male, but the mind is female, is towards another male, because the
Yes.
mind attraction is in the mind,
Mm.
but that mind is feeling attracted to a male body.
Yeah.
This is because the gender is in the subtle body, in the gendered body. Linga Sarira is different from Sthula Sarira.
Okay.
Okay. So what is in the gendered body? Senses.
Uh-huh.
The senses of the male and the female are different. Masculine senses and feminine senses are different. Masculine mind and feminine mind is different.
Mhm.
Masculine intellect and feminine intellect is different.
Mhm.
Okay. Masculine ego and feminine ego is different. For example, men will take pride in different things than women. Women take pride in certain things, men take pride in different things.
Okay.
The values of men and women are also different, which is called mahat. Okay, the men value certain things, women values different things. Okay, same thing is in terms of colors, so that comes down to the senses. The senses are also different. That's why I'm putting pink on girls and blue on boys and so on and so forth, right? So this is gendered body. So this is below the gross body.
Okay.
Okay, so you cannot see the gross, you cannot explain why women have certain preferences and why men have different preferences, because the linga sarira is basically deeper than the sthula sarira. And behind that linga sarira is chitta, guna chitta and karma. Okay, and behind that is another level of reality which is called maya. Behind that is the atma. So there are many levels. It depends on which system you're studying. If you study tantra, okay, so like I said, tantra has 36 levels. Okay, so the first 20 are the sthula sharira. The next four are the linga sharira, or next five are the linga sharira. Okay, then there are 12. Out of that 12, the lower five are, chitta, guna, karma, kala, and swabhava, and then there is five more. So how deep you want to go depends on that. So all these, what Tantra will talk about in terms of these deepest 10 levels of reality is merged into what Sankhya will say, Sukshma Sharira. Okay.
So the
So
last
these are
one,
the levels.
so the
Yeah.
last level is Atma, or is it
The
something?
last level, well, so Atma is one of the levels. Okay. Beyond the Atma is the Paramatma.
God, yeah.
Yeah, you can say God, Supreme Soul. Okay, so Supreme Soul is the original soul from which many souls have expanded. Just like from one concept, many concepts expand. Just like I have one book and you can print 100 copies, 1,000 copies. So like that, from one soul, many souls have been printed out. Xerox, cyclo-styled, whatever you want to call it. But so ultimately that Paramatma, beyond Paramatma is also there. It's Bhagavan. So that is deeper theological topics about what is the difference between Paramatma and Bhagavan and Brahman. So there is self, there is, and the same word is sometimes used for all three. Okay. So this Bhagavan is also called Param Brahman. And then Brahman is also called Atma. And then there's Paramatma. So Atma, Paramatma, Bhagavan. This is the verdict in Bhagavad Purana. Vadanti tat tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdate. The same non-dual reality is spoken of in three ways as Paramatma, Bhagavan, and Brahman. And when there is time or if there is interest, then we can talk about what these three things are. It's an elaborate subject in itself.
Okay. And that is why we say we are all connected, because we are all souls from the Paramatma.
You can say that we are parts of the body, just like, so this is again one of the, Acharyas, Ramanujacharya, he gave this Vishishta Advaita philosophy. He said, just like we have the body and there is a soul, similarly, the super soul is the soul and the soul is the body. He gave this analogy. So we are the Vishishta and he is the Samanya, you can say.
Yeah.
He is the universal and we are the particular. So he is so Vishishtas, and then he explained two kinds of Vishishta. That's more detail. But basically, the analogy is very simple. Just like we have soul and body. Similarly, God is the soul and we are the body. Okay, so you can say we are the hands, hair, legs, hand, whatever, parts of body. And therefore we are united, just like these five fingers are there. Okay, you can, if I show you only so much, they say, oh, there are four fingers or five fingers. But if I see a little more, then I say, oh, they're actually not five, they're one.
Yeah. So I just want to go one more back. This is actually, you said that you have a male body, but you have a female thinking, right? So you think
Yeah.
something went wrong while creation, from Atma all the way to the Sushma body. If something went wrong, that is why it is happening.
No, nothing went wrong. Gender is eternal there, eternally there, but the spiritual gender is kind of different from the material gender. But that will require me to discuss what is spiritual gender.
Mm. Okay.
Okay, so when we say Atma, it's very simple, the self. Okay, but when we say Jiva, Jiva can be Purusha and Stri. Jiva can be masculine and feminine.
Mhm.
So there is a personality in Jiva, there is no personality in Atma. Okay,
No.
so when we say jivatma, it means a self with personality.
Mm.
Whereas if you just say atma, so let's say we are talking about people in general. Okay, we are not interested in individual personality. So we'll just say, oh, there are 10 people, there are 10 individuals, there are 10 atma. Okay, but if we are very deeply interested in one person, then we have to talk about the personality of the individual. That is when we say jiva and atma. So there is an atma along with a jiva. Jiva is what do you mean by life? Okay, jivant is, somebody, something that is living. What do you mean by life? My definition of life is different from your definition of life. It is not simply being alive, right? Being alive is not life. Life means I'm interested in, let's say, in reading. Okay, that is my life. Writing is my life. Somebody can say cooking is my life. Somebody can say, but traveling is my life. So what do you mean by life? Life, the definition of life is different for everybody. So there is this impersonal concept which says, oh, once we are freed from this material entanglement, then we will we basically exist and not have a life. That is accepted as a lower level of realization. But at a higher level of realization, you are situated in an eternal self awareness, but that's a different life. It's an eternally unique life. Here you have unique life that is temporary, right? I may say I am interested in writing, but I may lose interest after some time, or I will die one day and then this writing will be over. But something you can do eternally, okay, that is eternal life. But life is unique, self is generic.
Mm. No, but you know what? If you are like that, like if see, I'm just telling in a logical way, like what like a normal common man like me will think, right? If you are ridiculed if you have a woman body and you have a male thinking, your spirituality, you're ridiculed in the society, you're not accepted in the society, that person feels bad and he has to go through. So I think, is it why did that happen? It should not happen, because
You're talking about why did many genders are created.
no, I'm talking about, okay, I'll be a little open, okay, if that's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Like, say, supposing if there's a gay man, right? So
yeah,
he
yeah.
he will have his own society. He's living in a socially recluse, and he's being like he's not accepted by the family. So why does he have to go all these three things? If he's a man, he should have a man spirituality, right?
What does it have to do with spirituality? They are both bodies.
No, but why did he feel like that? If God created him a man, let
No,
him
no, no.
into
Wait,
a
wait,
woman.
wait, wait. No, no. Don't run like a horse. Okay. Go slowly. They are both bodies.
Yeah,
Sthula Sharira, Linga Sharira, Sukshma Sharira. They're all Sharira.
yeah.
We are not saying, see, you are again bringing in this Western psychology where we are the mind. We are
Okay,
not the mind. Mind is a body.
okay.
Okay. You see, people say, oh, we are the senses, or we are the mind. We are not the mind. Mind is material. It is a body. It's very clear. This is not you. The Atma is not Deha.
Okay.
The Atma is not Sharira. But there are three kinds of Sharira. But in Western psychology and in Abrahamic religions, there is body and mind. That's it, two things. First of all, we divide the mind into four parts or five parts. Okay, then there is something deeper than the mind, which we call the unconscious mind. which is the subtle reality. So there is unconscious reality. There is a conscious reality, which is not one thing, which is divided into 5 parts. Then there is something called the body. But we are calling everything is a body. Sthula Sharira, Linga Sharira, Sukshma Sharira. Where is the self? Where is the spirituality here?
Okay.
It is all matter. The whole thing is material. It is just like you have an onion, you have layers and layers and layers and layers of constructed of this is what Sankhya is.
Mm.
So why we are trying to understand Sankhya is to understand you are just like you are not this hand and leg. Similarly, you are not this race. You're not this body. Then similarly, you can say, oh, I am thoughts. I'm
Mhm.
just thought. No, no, you're not thoughts. Somebody can say, I'm just perceptions. Somebody can say, I am beliefs. I am moral values. I have an ego identity.
Mhm.
We are saying you're not all those things. We are going to 36 levels of what you are not.
Okay. Okay.
Right? So 36 levels of what you are not.
Mm.
Okay. So why are we spending so much time is to say this is all that you are not. Remove, go on removing. Otherwise, once you remove all this, then the question comes, okay, if I'm not all the 36 things, then what am I? That question of what am I makes sense after you've removed 36 things or
Okay.
24 things or whatever, whichever system you're operating in. But after I removed so many things, then I can talk about spirituality. And that is also as a question mark. Who
Mhm.
am I? If I am not perceptions, if I am not thoughts, if I am not sensations, if I am not feelings, if I am not emotions, if I am not judgments, if I am not beliefs, if I am not values, then what am I? Okay,
Okay.
that self comes after removal of all these things. So now the question comes, your other question, why did God make? God is not making anything. God has made the world as possibility.
Oh, okay.
Okay, God has made the world as possibility. You can just like you can just like you know Dell computers, you can go and assemble your computer. At least it used to be there at one time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, my CPU type with my memory type with somebody wants 512 GB hard disk combined with 8-core CPU with the low memory. So you can assemble these things. So the
Oh.
body is being assembled just like a computer is being assembled. Why is it being assembled? Because you wanted it to be assembled in this way.
So before the birth, a person wanted to be assembled this way?
Yes, before that is why the previous life concept comes in. See, for example, uh, let's take the case of a gay person. Okay,
Yes.
man attracted towards man,
Yeah. Yeah.
and what is happening is in his previous birth, for example. So there, like I explained, there is guna and there is karma. Okay,
Mhm.
guna is what your attraction towards is, what your proclivities are. Okay, and karma is what your opportunities are. So body is the opportunity, mind is the proclivity. The
Mhm.
mind is working like a woman, the body is working like a man.
Mhm.
Why this is happening is because of incredible amount of sexual liberalism that has happened in society, where typical gender roles have been violated. And when you violate those kinds of roles, then what happens? Mixtures. Man is no longer truly a man. Is half his properties are like a woman. Woman is not truly a woman. Half her properties are like a man. So the next birth happens. This mixture will happen. Proclivities are something. Opportunities are something else.
Mm.
Okay, and
So, but
abilities
then,
are something else.
but the family suffers when this such kind of things happen. There's so much
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah. So
discontent,
this is all happening because you are thinking, everybody's thinking in terms of one life. They
Yeah.
think I can do only in terms of one life. So I can, let's say, so remember three things. Everything is produced from the combination of chitta, guna, and karma. Ability, proclivity, opportunity. Okay, your opportunities are created based on what opportunities you have created previously for others. Okay, your proclivities are created by your own habits and things like that, and your abilities. Okay, so you have ability, proclivity, opportunity. Combine these three things, you can get Sometimes you have very, very complicated things where you have senses like a male and mind like a female. Sometimes there will be people who will have masculine values, but feminine enjoyment, sense of enjoyment, and so on. So it can, people talk about 64 genders. We say, well, it is unlimited genders. 64 is too little.
No, we only described two, male and female.
Because I'm saying the concept of gender is it can, just like Lord Vishnu, okay? He is male, but he also becomes female, Mohini,
Mohini,
okay?
yeah. In the
Because
Samudra Manthan, yeah.
yes, because Mohini aspect, the feminine aspect is within him, but it is the subordinate aspect. Sometimes when he wants, he can become a woman. Okay, and he is such a luscious and attractive woman that you know everybody is deluded. Oh, he's really so what is the problem here? The problem is that everybody has feminine and masculine tendencies within them to varying levels of to varying extents. But we are saying you are neither this, neither that, nor this, nor that. Okay. But some people are saying, no, 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 I am this. So I emphasize some masculine aspects, emphasize some feminine aspects. Whatever you emphasize, that khichdi combination will be produced. Just like you have emphasized, I want a big CPU. Okay, you get a big CPU. I want less memory. Okay, you get less memory. I want a huge disk. Okay, you get a huge disk. I want a small screen. So you are assembling this by your own actions, by your choices.
Karma. So you are whatever you are because of your past life karma.
Because karma is, again, karma I explained is karma is only the opportunity aspect. Your desire, your action is not simply karma. Okay, you can say kriya, but your past actions are assembling this. Okay, how it is assembled is just like the process of assembling a computer. I can have just like you go to the market and say, oh, these are the 5 standard laptops. No, but I want something which has a very small screen but has a huge memory and disk. Okay, but that kind of computer is not in the market. Well, nature can assemble it for you. So the body is just like an instrument. That body can be assembled. Infinite types of bodies can be assembled. Infinite time. That body means sthul sharir, ling sharir, sukshma sharir. Okay. So all these things are possible. Possibilities are infinite. But if you choose some possibility, then obviously you'll have to live with it. If you buy a computer that has like a 10 feet by 10 feet screen, then you got to have a room where you have to feed it enough power. Yeah, it will generate a lot of heat and so on, so you have to live with it.
Okay. You are like, it's all because of your karma and you have to deal with it.
Yeah, you have to deal with it, and there is a prescription of how to get out of it.
Don't do any more karma in this life.
You
Bad
are
karma.
using the word karma again and again. I'm telling you again and again, it is not just karma. I said chitta, guna, and
And
karma.
yeah, so don't
Chitta
do
is your
bad.
ability.
Uh-huh.
Ability. Feminine abilities and masculine abilities are different. If you pursue certain abilities in 1/3 of the way, you are masculine or feminine. Similarly, feminine proclivity and masculine proclivities are different. If you pursue one of them in another 1/3 of the way, they are different. Similarly, masculine opportunities and feminine opportunities are different. If you pursue one of them, you prioritize one of them. So you are reducing it all to karma. I'm not trying to reduce it. I'm trying to give you the complete picture.
Complete picture, yeah.
So don't quote me and saying I said it is all your
No, no,
karma.
no.
No,
I
I did
understand.
not
Like,
say
but
that.
actually, we understand like that. Like, we are common man. We just talk in terms of karma. But
Then
I
what is the use of having this conversation if
yeah.
you want to remain a common
No,
man?
no, no, no. I get it. I get it.
Then I am wasting my time talking to
No,
you.
no, no.
You want to remain common, then remain
No, no.
common without
No,
talking to
I'm
me.
not common, and many people are not common, not just me. Okay, what
Okay.
is illusion?
Illusion is Illusion is again at these 36 levels or 24 levels. Okay. The whole thing is an illusion, and there are many, many kinds of illusions. I'll give you a couple of simple examples. Simply saying that I am Ashish Dalela, this is illusion.
Okay.
Just like you, in every meeting, you begin by saying, can you introduce yourself? So I will say, I am Ashish Dalela. I wrote all these books. This is illusion.
Okay.
Okay. So that is why I always shy away from trying to introduce myself. I say, go to Shabda.co, find out what is there. Because I don't want to perpetuate this illusion that you are forcing me to perpetuate.
But that's a trend.
But that is why it is an illusion.
Yeah.
Okay. I am not Ashish Dalela. Ashish Dalela is a name given to this body which was born at date X and will end at date Y. Okay. Before that, Ashish Dalela did not exist. After that, Ashish Dalela won't exist, but the Atma will exist before and after. So I don't want to perpetuate that illusion that I am Ashish Dalela, so that is the first level of illusion. Okay. Similarly, simply at the level of this gross body. Similarly, at the level of, mind, there is illusion. I believe I am so and so. Or similarly, the ego is an illusion. I have these values. Hard work is a nice value. Okay, fine. Somebody else has, relaxation as the value. So we are identifying with so many things that we are not. These 36 levels of illusion. That is why the whole thing is called Maya, because I am not any of those things. Okay. And by the combination of 36 levels, infinite types of illusions are created.
Okay.
Okay. So the fundamental illusion is that I am this body. This is the fundamental illusion. What is this body? Sukshma Sharira, Linga Sharira, Sthula Sharira. And each of them divided into many, 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 many parts. Okay. So this is illusion. But there are many other types of illusions. If we go into that, we'll have to discuss a lot of physics. So we'll not do that.
Okay.
Physics is also creating an illusion. I'll just mention it. This idea of distance. Okay. The idea of distance is also an illusion. This is why it's, again, I have to discuss a lot of physics if I do that. That's why it's called relativity. It's basically arising. See, I can withdraw my consciousness. Okay. And everything becomes far without body moving. Everything is far. I can detach myself from the world. I can be in a room full of people and my mind can be outside that room. So I am not with anybody, even though everybody thinks I am with you or I am with the people. People may think I am there, but I am not there. This simple example can be extended limitlessly, and you can understand distance is a function. Distance is when something affects me. If something is affecting me strongly, then it is close to me. If it is not affecting me, then it is far from me. Right? Just like if I say, oh, this war is happening in another country, it is far from me, it doesn't affect me. But even if I am in the war zone and it doesn't affect me, it is as good as it is far from me. So this concept of distance is also an illusion. Okay, but that's a very deep topic. Simple thing is, I am not this body. This thing that I am, this identity, giving myself this identity, gender, identification with this existence. This is illusion.
Illusion. Yeah. Okay. And moving on to our next, what is Big Bang Theory? According to our, Vedas and this book, not like according to modern physics.
We don't have a Big Bang theory.
Okay.
There is no Big Bang theory. Anybody who says, Vedas have a Big Bang theory doesn't know what he's talking about.
Okay.
Okay. Big Bang theory, let me give you a brief background. Okay. Big Bang theory comes from Le Martyr, is a Catholic priest. He first proposed this. It was picked up by a person called George Gamow. He's a physicist. He popularized it. And this idea comes from Christian theology. And in general, predominantly Christian theology, but very closely aligned with the rest of the two Abrahamic faiths. This idea is that the world did not exist before God created it. Okay, so this creation is called ex nihilo.
Oh,
Ex matlab what it was previously. Nihilo means it was nothing.
okay.
So it was previously nothing, and then God created the world. In fact, you will say, God said, let there be light, and there was light. Okay, that means light did not exist previously. This is a totally anti-Vedic concept where Prakriti is eternal.
Yeah. You talk about the Vedic, yes.
Okay, no, let me explain that, right? Since I got started, so let me quickly explain that. So this Big Bang assumes ex nihilo, which means nature did not exist previously. It came out of nothing.
Mhm.
Then on top of that, people have added Big Crunch. Okay, so Big Bang and Big Crunch, it went back into something and then it might explode. So then people started talking about cyclical stuff. Okay, our concept is very simple. There is a seed from which, when water is poured, a tree plant comes out. When it comes out, it's called manifest, vyakta. Okay, when it goes back into the seed, it becomes avyakta, but it remains as a seed. Okay, so when the seed starts sprouting a tree, that is called manifest. When the tree goes back into the seed, that is called unmanifest. The seed never dies. The tree may appear and disappear. Even when it has gone back into the seed, it has never disappeared.
Mhm.
Okay, so there is a physicist called David Bohm. He talked about some of these basic concepts. He coined this word unfolded and enfolded. The universe is unfolded and the universe is enfolded. He was talking to Jiddu Krishnamurti, and he got some of these basic concepts. So he started talking about unfolded and enfolded. Unfolded is Vyakta, and enfolded is Avyakta. Avyakta is not ex nihilo. Avyakta has not disappeared. It has simply become folded in a way that you cannot see it. Okay, you can see the unfolded one. So what is Big Bang for us? First of all, there is no Big Bang. We are fundamentally opposed to the idea of Big Bang. We are fundamentally opposed to the idea of creation itself.
Mhm.
There is no creation. There is no, it is only manifestation and unmanifestation.
Okay.
Something is that was hidden is revealed. Something that is revealed is hidden.
Okay.
Okay, it's like that.
But remember, we were discussing about the Vishnu, that he's Vishnu. When he excretes, he many universes.
Yes, so that is a seed. So the tree is coming out of the seed. Vishnu is the seed.
Oh, okay.
Vishnu is the seed from him. So the seed doesn't have to be impersonal object, right?
Uh-huh.
Seed can be a person. That Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Aham bij pradapita. I am the seed giving father. So I have basically described this simply, but there is a father, there is a mother, there is a child, right? So people who are talking about Big Bang have probably never heard of Bhagavad Gita, or they've heard but they've never read, because Krishna says, I am the seed giving father. So there is a father, there is a mother, and there is a child. The creation is the child, but the child, like I said, when these three things combine, okay, these three aspects, you can say three gunas, when they combine, when in that combination, possibility is created. What is the possibility? There are infinite possibilities.
Mhm.
Okay. And that seed that Krishna gives, Aham Bij Pradapita, that I am the seed giving father, that seed is infinite also. It basically, there are infinite seeds. Okay. So each of this universe, so you can say, so Vishnu is the origin. You can say in a simple sense, the tree seed.
Yeah.
Okay, just like a seed, from a seed, many trees come out. In the trees, there'll be branches or trunks and leaves and fruits and so on. That is one model of description.
Okay.
So yes, you can say seed and tree. You can also see seed giving father.
Okay. So last question, how can we address the fragmented nature of modern physics? Like how can we address, you have described it, it's fragmented. How can we, going forward, how can we address it?
It will never be addressed. The fragmentation will go on increasing.
Okay, increasing.
Yeah, it will go on increasing. That is the nature of just like, see, we talked about these 36 levels of reality.
Yeah,
Okay. So if you take the last level of reality, there are 36 levels at which, 35 levels at which unity is being progressively established from one seed.
yeah,
Okay. So like in modern science, they're saying, oh, there is some design in nature and therefore God must have designed it.
yeah,
No, there is no such design. Or you can say there are 35 levels of design.
yeah,
You have just studied one level.
yes.
Okay. So what is design? Design is 35 more levels of reality or 24 more levels or whatever system you are in.
Mhm.
Okay. So if you want to study the design, you have to go and study these levels. And then at the topmost level, you'll get Purusha,
Mm.
Karanadakshayi Purusha, or there are many more, details if we can go into, it will just confuse people. But basic idea is you have got diversity.
Mm.
Okay. You have a tree behind you in your picture. Now let us say we cut off the root, the trunk, the branches. What you got is leaves.
Yes,
Okay. If you remove the trunks, branches, and the root, you got fragmented leaves.
yes.
Right? If you cut off all those things, what will you have? Leaf, 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 millions of leaves. Will you ever get unity? You will not get.
Oh,
Why?
understood. Okay.
Why? Because two leaves are united by a twig. Two twigs are united by a branch. Two branches are united by a trunk. Many trunks are united by a root.
No, so
So
don't cut
those are
off,
the
like
deeper level.
join, make the root again. Join it.
How will you make it? You can't just make it.
Uh-huh.
Because fundamentally to join the leaves
Mm,
together, let's say physics is one leaf and psychology is another leaf.
mm.
Okay. How will you join physics and psychology? You have to have something that is joining both of them. Okay. Which will be like a twig. Then
Okay.
you will get another subject, let's say economics. How will you join psychology and physics and economics? So they will never join. Why? Because they don't have the concept of a deeper reality. Deeper reality in this case is the twigs, the branches, the trunks, and ultimately the root.
No, if we propagate deeper reality and then we'll say, hey, let's join.
But fundamentally, see, they have only two levels of reality, mind and body.
Okay.
Only two levels of reality, of which the mind is removed. It is not part of science. So only one level of reality.
Mm.
Their conception of reality is two levels. Here we are talking about 36 levels, which
Levels.
is just the part which is matter. We are not talking about all the spirit level realities. And here they are talking about two levels, of which mind and body are the two levels. Mind has been removed. Okay, so let's say mind is the spirit, so we removed. Within that, we have 36 levels,
Okay.
right? So the first thing is even to, you in science, you cannot even postulate something that you cannot measure. Okay, this is another deeper philosophical point. You have to understand what do you mean by the word matter in science. Matter is anything that is measurable. What is not measurable is not matter. Okay, I'll give you an example. Population, for example. Population is measurable, so it is matter. Okay, smell is not measurable, so it is not matter. You understand? Money is measurable, so it is matter. Taste is not measurable, so it is not matter.
Mm.
So they have defined matter in a way that is instrument measurement. It has got nothing to do with ordinary experience or nothing to do with reality. Emotion cannot be measured, so it is. not matter. It is spirit, mind, something outside at most. Otherwise, you can say it is all only chemical reaction which somehow became, emotion, and we don't know how really. But basically, matter is defined as what you can measure. Now we have 36 levels, out of which 35 are not measurable. So you can't even postulate. And hypothetical entities like money can be postulated as material reality. Population is material reality. But smell is not material reality. Taste is not material reality. Color is not material reality. Frequency, yeah, you can say it is reality because I can measure it. Color I cannot measure. Frequency I can measure. So you have to understand how science has been constructed is basically that what I can measure is matter. What I cannot measure is either mind or it doesn't exist or it will be reduced to something that I can measure. Basically, I don't need to account for its existence.
Mm.
Okay, what I cannot measure. And most of that reality, what exists is what you cannot measure. Therefore, it will never be incorporated in science.
Yeah.
Okay. And every subject will try to study parts and parcels of it. That's why it's like you go to a hospital, modern day hospital. There is one doctor for the eye, a different doctor for the ear, a third doctor for the nose, fourth doctor for the teeth. Like that, every body, how many body parts you have, that many doctors you need. Why? Because they have broken down the body into hundreds of parts.
Mm.
One guy will only study the part. Now, if you say, I want health, you can't go to any doctor and say, I want health. General physician will also not be able to give you health. They can only try to diagnose which part of the body is diseased and try to cure the disease. But our approach is very different. We say, hey, there is something called health of the whole body. Why? Because we are able to talk about the whole body, right? How are we able to talk about? Either a twig or a trunk or a branch, going all the way to the root, which is the atma. So we
Mm.
say heal the root. If you don't put poison in the root, then the whole tree will automatically become healthy.
Mm.
We will say water the root, don't put water on the leaf. There is no use in putting water on each leaf one by one by one. Just pour water in the root.
Mm.
Water will automatically reach the whole tree. So we have a whole, but it is a part. Root is a part of the tree, but it is the whole of the tree in the sense that if you put water on the root, the whole tree will get it. So if you go by scientific realism, which is basically what should I, according to scientific realism, if I change the root and if I act on the root, the whole tree is affected. Therefore, I'm acting on the whole.
Yes.
Okay, it will take some time to explain that point, but basically you get it. So this is scientific. It is a part and it is the whole. Root is the whole. Why? Because acting on the root is acting on the whole tree. Whereas acting on the leaf is not acting on the other leaves, not the twigs, not the branches, not so on. So it is just a part. This is a part and the whole.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you for an amazing conversation. We'll have another episode on the next two chapters. But before I let you go, do you have anything to say to my viewers of the Atman Show?
Same thing which I said last time is study, take up books. There are a lot of people who are, talking some religion and so on. They have basically reduced the Vedic system to yet another, like you say, common people think like this. I don't want this common, fast food. Okay, we have elaborate cuisines, millions of elaborate cuisines. Okay, so why, when you have these cuisines, why go and don't eat junk fast food? There are many people who are giving junk fast food in the name of Vedic system. Go and study the books. I have written many books. There are several other books. And if you have questions, come and ask. You can post questions. You can take questions, or I have a forum where people come and ask questions. We are not trying to indoctrinate anybody because I'm not taking money. Are you giving me any money for
No.
this?
Thank you for doing it for free.
Okay, so I don't take money for doing anything. We are doing it because we are, happy doing it.
Yes,
It gives us happiness
exactly.
doing it. Okay, that's why we are doing it. And so we are not taking money. There is no material motivation. We are not, if you don't follow it, I'm not going to stop. I'm not waiting for a big population for fan following and so on. So we are doing it as a public service. We feel happy about doing it. It gives us joy. And so study it, and you will find rational information, something you can practice, and something you can understand, and go with that rational and empirical approach. Okay, don't go by, and don't go by fast food method.
Yeah.
If you go by fast food method, you will basically only get one recipe, which is called khichdi.
And indigestion.
Well, first of all, you will not get the millions of flavors that are there.
Exactly.
Okay, if you eat one, you will be denatured, and it'll have no taste. Okay, and you will listen to it 3 times, then you'll get bored with it and say, let's try something else. Here
Exactly.
we are inviting you to a world in which you can remain absorbed for eternity.
Okay.
Okay, so this is an invitation to eternity. Read, study. Don't be baffled by saying, oh my God, how many books are there? It's because life is eternal.
Exactly.
If you had eternal time on your hand, would I just give you one book and read that book, and you have eternal time on your hand, so there's eternal information to acquire, learn, understand, assimilate, practice, and distribute. Okay, so the civilization that talks about eternal life gives hundreds and thousands of books. The civilization that talks about one life gives one book. Okay,
Mhm.
so understand the difference. There are hundreds and hundreds of books because it is eternal life. I got eternal time. Okay, I got to read and understand. And so um, that's the basic idea.
Okay. Namaste. Bye. We'll meet for another
Namaskar.
session.
Namaskar.